Lights out. It's 11 o'clock.
They are!
Candles count as lights.
What are you, a psychic?
They're vanilla Christmas candles, Dean. The whole attic smells like cupcakes. Now, I'm expecting a call, so stay off the phone tonight.
You're destroying my life!
Okay, 10 minutes, and no sexting.
Do you even know what that means?
GYPO, I'm FOL, code 9, TTYL. That's get your pants off, I'm fond of leather, my parent or guardian is near, I will talk to you later in sexting language. Daddy is hip to it, Dean. 10 minutes.
Hi, welcome to Venture Bros Podcast. With me, as always, is Nick, Shoeless, Friedemann.
I did try and potentially fix a World Series, but turns out I probably didn't because my stats were incredible.
So I'm guessing you know who your name is coming from.
They made a few movies about me. I am Magic Johnson.
You still on that farm in Iowa?
I mean,
Well, my son does, apparently, or something like that. I don't remember.
personally, I would call you Joe Jackson.
What? Yeah, I know who it is.
Shoeless Joe Jackson. You were so close when you got it wrong.
He will come.
I actually didn't know Magic's first name until I looked at this list.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had no
What,
idea.
his first name's not actually Magic?
Nope.
Mind blown.
Yeah, there you go. We also have Mr. Matt Sweetness Dykes.
Well, I am pretty sweet. Like sugar.
Nick,
Oh
do you
my
know whose name that
God.
is? I'm guessing Matt doesn't.
I have no fucking idea.
I feel like it's a boxer, but I might be wrong.
It's a football player.
Oh, I have no idea.
Walter Payton.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that was his nickname.
I've not even heard his full name before.
Okay, see, that was the one I wasn't sure. Because he's been mentioned a lot because he's a Bears player.
Yes.
Or was a Bears player, a very famous Bears player.
So he
But
played with bears?
you don't even know who the Bears are?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay, so Venture Brothers. This week we're talking Mama's Boys, which on the rewatch, I'll jump right into it, might be my favorite episode of the season.
It's up there.
I kind of forgot how much I don't really love season 5, so this one is a real high point for me because I think this is where this is like prime Venture Brothers dialogue. So that could be why I like it as much as I do, but we'll get there.
I mean, you've got so many amazing elements in it. I mean, like Enrico Matassa. I mean, we could do an entire podcast on how fucking amazing that character is.
Oh yeah, Hank is the best.
Yep.
And then we have like the return of Gary as like a monarch-esque character. Like, there's just so much in
The
this one. So
Viceroy.
I love this shit out of this one. I'm guessing Matt does too. What about you, Nick?
I actually kind of forgot this episode existed until basically this morning. And I was like, oh, this is a really good episode.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where if it wasn't for Enrico Matassa showing up, I probably would forget it entirely. But it is a really good episode with a ton of lore in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, whose turn is it to do a quick breakdown? I honestly don't remember. It could be
think
mine. I
it's-
haven't done one in a while.
I think it's mine.
I think it's you.
It's me?
I think so.
Okay, I'll do this one. Matt, you can do next week. And then Nick will do the third week. Sound like a plan?
That
Oh,
sounds
you
like a
got
plan.
it.
Oh, we're not recording 3 episodes at one time. Nobody can see behind that magical curtain.
You broke kayfabe. I don't understand.
Oh, no.
No, the magic has been lost. We're not speaking to you live right now.
Thank God. This would go terrible live. Could you imagine doing Spanakopita live?
Oh fucking hell! No, don't
People
don't
would
say that
die.
word. Don't say that word again. Don't say that
Don't
word
you
again.
dare put that black magic on us.
Okay,
Mike,
so...
stop. Working. No. Stop. Spanakopita.
So, really quickly, what happens in this episode? Basically, in an effort to get out and about in the world, Hank has come up with his plan to keep his father distracted by putting basically a toy up to a phone and having them start a friendship, which works way too well. And when they stop calling in with the bear, Rusky, of course, assumes that his one and only friend is in true danger and must save him, leading into this crazy journey to go find the voice of the bear, which is Teddy. It leads them to cross paths with Dean's story, where he is looking to find his mom because he feels like he needs a mom because he's a clone and he just can't handle it. All kind of lining up together to this big breakout, and you find that there really was a voice of Teddy at that place that Rusty just assumes that was the guy he was talking to the whole time, and everything just kind of works out. Oh, and Myra is not the boy's mom, and if you didn't figure that one out by now, then what are you doing here?
Yep.
That's pretty much all of it, right?
Yep.
Sounds like it, yeah.
This, like, just jumping right into it, this episode feels to me like one of those ones where, like, it had a pretty decent idea of, like, all right, let's actually dispel the rumor that Myra is the boy's mom. Like, let's just get this done with. Like,
Right.
We're not sure if we're ever going to say for sure who the mom is, but we're definitely going to say it's not Myra, and let's make sure everyone knows that. And that was really all the episode had to do plot-wise. And then it's like, well, what if we add this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and we ended up with something really cool.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that this was written with that intent, and it's weird. I think that there have been a handful of episodes written this season that have been written with like a specific thing in mind, and I feel like most of them haven't worked. The episode that shall not be named, that's after some sort of green pastry, as an example of that.
Sure.
But I think this one does because they kept it very simple, right?
Yeah.
I think that this is the whole episode is a very absurd premise, which is Rusty being upset. It kind of doesn't make any sense, but you're just like, it's fine. The way I viewed it and the way it made sense is that he kind of has cabin fever.
Sure.
It doesn't seem like he's been doing much outside of going to Greece for a weekend.
Well, that, and he has no friends. Like, he
Exactly.
hates the friends he has, so he assumes, oh, this is a friend.
Exactly.
And it's a friend who's listening. I did air quotes then. A friend who's listening, in air quotes, to him. When it's like, he's just talking to a stuffed bear.
Yeah. And it's like exactly what Hank says. He doesn't talk to people. He talks at them. So that's the only way they can get away with it.
100%. And I think that there's something that's really interesting about that. But it's kind of ridiculous, but that's Rusty. Rusty is kind of ridiculous.
Oh, totally.
I mean,
And
just everything about him is ridiculous, though.
About Rusty in general?
Yeah, he just has an over-inflated sense of self-worth. He's just... he thinks everyone cares about his opinion and everyone should listen to his opinion and things like that. And this episode really shows that with the fact that, you know, he's able to strike up a relationship with a stuffed bear that he's been talking to on the phone for months, when the bear will like say a few things at the start of the conversation, then they'll have an 11-hour phone conversation with just Rusty talking at him. It just sort of like underlines the fact that, yeah, Rusty is very self-absorbed, very much like thinks that he is right about everything and anything. The episode really sort of like puts that into focus. I mean, we know that really anyway, but it really puts it into focus on that specific thing.
Well, that, and then the other thing that I thought was really interesting about the whole Teddy situation is, what does it say about how fucked up Rusty's head is that when he finds the Teddy doll with everything Teddy said to him on there, his response isn't, how have you guys been tricking me like this? It's that somebody's been listening in and they've kidnapped Teddy.
And they've used a child's toy to do it.
Yeah, like...
They desecrated a child's toy.
Like, oh, Rusty is so fucked up.
But you know what's crazy is I feel like that's the most logical leap he makes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like we've seen so much of Rusty's childhood and everything else, and that weirdly makes the most sense. Like, the part that I find ridiculous is the listening to this story of like, I can't even remember, but it's like sliding down rainbows, and it's like whatever the place is called, and he can't find it anywhere.
By Golly
it's like,
Gulch.
Yeah.
Yes. And you're just like, that seems crazy.
In a
but then
gumdrop
the
forest as
people
well.
listening in on him, we just had an episode not too far ago that somebody was telling him that he has a beaver infestation and put up bombs all around the compound. And you're like, yeah, this checks out.
I mean, Rusty just goes along with anything.
Yeah.
Totally.
Which is so weird for such a curmudgeon who wants to do nothing.
Exactly.
It's a really weird mix of like someone who can't be asked to do anything, but then will go along with anything.
And then I love just like how absent-minded he is. Like they get stuck in the truck on the side of the cliff, and he's like, "All right, I'll take care of this." So he calls Hatred for help, who's stuck in the car with him, next to him.
Exactly.
Like he's just not in this reality. Let's move into what I consider like the real meat of this episode, which is the Hank and Dermot team up, and then of course with Gary at some point.
Dermot's fucking name. Flying sidekick that requires so much explanation to the cops. And and just like, oh, open gate number 2, like it removes the ball and chain. It's like, oh, you not use this? No, we've not used this for me. We had to get it from the old timey jail.
I also just love Dermot come barreling out of like the drill thing from Ninja Turtles. And he's like, and I have my nunchaku or nunchuck. I'm not sure of the pronunciation.
And then it goes flying off and hits him and goes, oh, sorry.
Like, I didn't know how much I wanted somewhat unsure of himself Dermot. Like, I've been entertained by Supreme Cocky Dermot, but the slight unsure of himself with the same level of cockiness is way funnier.
I just think it's brilliant where they're taking him off to jail and they just take him off to regular jail. And it's like, no, I'm supposed to go with them. It's like, yeah, nice try. You go to regular jail.
This is also the first time we've ever seen any knowledge that regular civilians are aware of the super villain world.
Yeah.
Because
like, overtly, anyway.
Because when Gary starts like spouting off all of like the we are part of the guild, blah 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 blah, it just goes on and on and on. Like, oh, we got another one. Hey, less paperwork for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that bit as well.
You guys have worked out a deal with normal police.
Yeah, it feels like there's at least like an understanding of the general rules, and then it's just kind of like, okay, passed off into another organization. This is not for us.
Yeah, put them in Arkham, and then move on, and that's essentially what they do.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, we had a little bit of that in season 1 with the Trial of the Monarch episode. There's a little bit of like where there's something about I didn't know that you could just call the police and I would have done it ages ago. And Brok says, "Oh, they wouldn't show up. Who do you think paid for the police's new cruisers or something like that?"
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah, I'd forgotten they mentioned it briefly there.
It's tiny bits there.
Yeah, because you've seen sometimes where cops have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
right.
So I guess it's just certain cops, or maybe they didn't like hear the code, and like once they've actually heard that code, they're like, "Oh, I've never actually had to run into a supervillain before."
Yeah,
I didn't realize how legit you are.
Oh.
I mean, they didn't do shit, but they did break into a bank.
Yeah,
they just passed it along.
Yeah,
they were like,
Hank just pointed his handkerchief at them like a gun.
His yard of Hank. Or Hank of Yarn is what it's called.
Oh god, that whole sequence. I am very Hank.
And his entire intro is good. And this is also a huge hanky. Oh, Hank. Or Enrico Matassa, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I love, from the very beginning, I've always loved Hank and Gary together. Like, they just crack me up. And whenever Hank has to try to describe his relationship with any of the supervillains, anyone, I'm always very entertained. And that entire spiel that he has while Gary's hiding in the bushes about how crazy his life is to Dermot, when Dermot should have some idea. I mean, he even speaks helper now. But that entire sequence of like, look, a David Bowie who looked like the 70s David Bowie appeared right there on my lawn, and just goes through all of it. And it's like, Hank is surprisingly well adjusted for how crazy his life is.
Yeah,
it's true.
I mean, that sequence there is always brilliant. Where it's just like, I will turn you into men. Okay, strange men in the bushes, you turn us into men.
Oh, I have that entire thing written down because like that is like my favorite Dermot moment in the entirety of his character.
Yeah,
like I like Dermot. I've never loved Dermot, but I like Dermot. That line is just perfect. And let me here. I'm gonna read it just in case you don't remember it from the episode. Okay, guy watching us in the bushes, you make us into men. Should I go get some lotion, or do you want to use blood and clown paint for lube? Earlier in the episode, I mentioned that I love this episode because it feels like pure Venture Brothers writing. That line right there is what I'm talking about. The whole episode is good, but that line is just perfect.
Like, what other series could you have that line in?
Oh, yeah. Blood and clown paint.
Oh, God.
Fucking Dermot.
I remember watching that back again, and I was just sort of thinking, oh, God, that whole thing there, I had to pause it and rewind it because it was just so funny.
Oh, yeah. And this one also has, like, this is Dermot finding out that he's a Venture Brother.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the way they did it, was when he needed help, Dr. O showed up because he's just in tune to help out the Venture Brothers.
Yeah. And he has that brilliant line like, I could have swore it was one of the Venture Brothers.
It's not a paternity test, but...
Yeah.
It's kind of a paternity test.
Yeah, it's like, it's not a guarantee, but I did show up because a Venture was in trouble, and here you are. And he does speak helper, and it's like, dude, put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Which he does.
That end bit after the end credits. See you later, Dad. And then just like the shot of all 3 of them just like, mouths gaped open.
It's so, especially when like, the door closes on Dean.
Yeah. It's like...
And also, like, it kind of felt like it was coming the whole time. Like, the whole episode felt like it was leading up to that. Even with their death confessions in the truck between Hatred and Venture, or Rusty, when they're like, oh, you want a death confession? Fine. Dermot, illegitimate son.
Yeah.
What haven't we hit in this episode? I'm sure there's something. Oh, we haven't hit Momma. Good
I was
Lord.
going to say, like,
We
the whole of
skipped Momma.
Dunwich, we've not really even covered any of that as well. Like the introduction of Radical Left.
We've seen Radical Left before, haven't we?
Don't think so.
I think we've seen him in the background, but I don't think that we've been introduced to him as like a name and a spoken person.
Oh, okay. Maybe I've just seen the show too many times. I could have sworn we'd seen Radical Left. But yeah. Either way. Yeah, we have Radical Left. We have Teddy for real, the burn victim Teddy. And then, of course, Momma. Myra's back.
Yep. I've just read the book there, and it does sound like Radical Left was introduced here, because it said, in the book it says, we just like Radical Left, so we brought him back after this.
Cool.
So
that must be why I think I've known him, because I've seen him in other episodes.
Yeah. Oh, he does come back later on.
Right.
But I think this is his introduction.
Oh, cool. He's no Brick Frog, but, there's only one Brick Frog.
Brick Frog. Every time you bring him up, I just can't help that.
Every time I see him in the episode, I say it. Like, he's got an episode later this season. Every time he pops up, I'm like, oh, Brick Frog! I fucking love Brick Frog.
Oh,
yeah, I like the whole Arkham Asylum-ish thing. Like, I think that works really well. Especially putting Hank and Gary in there is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially the whole Rorschach test of getting them in. It's a butterfly. It's a butterfly. It's a butterfly. Look, I don't know who's making these things, but they clearly love butterflies because they just keep making butterflies. Another butterfly.
And
do you think? So here's a question I had. Do you think that he actually sees them as butterflies, or do you think he's playing it up like Hank?
I would say both.
Oh, interesting.
Well, when I was looking at them, I saw butterflies. So I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy as well.
I would say Gary legitimately sees butterflies, but knows he needs to say butterfly every time to get into the place that he wants to be in.
That's fair.
Whereas Hank is just making everything up, and it's fantastic.
True.
Is Hank making everything up, or is Hank just like going off on one of his little Hank moments, though? Really?
I would say he's making it up, especially because he's doing the whole thing in Enrique Montasa voice.
Yeah, but he's in the Enrique Montasa character. No, we know
I
Hank,
still
he
think
likes
he's
his
making it up.
characters.
As much as I'd love to agree, I think he's definitely making it up. Like, he knows what he's... Like, that's my favorite thing about Hank, is he's surprisingly competent when he needs to be competent, and this is one of those situations where he needs to be, so he pulls it through. Almost every time you need to rely on him, he comes through.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think he's definitely not... That's why I think he's definitely faking this, because this is a situation where he needs to be on point, and so he is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Here's one somewhat controversial opinion that I get from time to time, or that I have that people get mad at me for. I don't really like Myra. I agree.
Yeah. I only like her in the first episode because I think that she has an amazing introduction, and she has one of the best gags in all of the Venture Brothers, which is Brok falling backwards through the windshield.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best sight gags ever.
I was literally going to say this thing, that she was great as a one and done character, but the more they brought her back, the worse it got. It just kept it's like retreading old territory that you didn't really have to do. It could have been perfect as a one and done thing, and that's it.
And this one to me felt like fans, shut up. Myra is not the mom. All right, fine. We'll just put it out there. She's not the mom. We're just gonna get it done with.
Yeah,
exactly.
And for that response, I think this episode turned out great. Like, Myra does not annoy me in this episode. I actually think they use her really well. It's probably the best they've used her. I mean, they've only used her, one other time in between? And that was like that flashback episode with Rusty?
Yeah, like we've seen like just a little flashback.
Yeah.
Is that the case? Because this is where I was getting confused, which was, how do the boys know who she is?
Well, they have to remember being kidnapped by her. Like, that has to be it.
But didn't they... Oh, I guess they never died in between.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't have.
Right.
But even if they had died in between, like, surely that they don't just remember up to the same point even when they die, because you'd have the issue then of, if they died at, like, age 3 or something, how do they keep the memories there? There must be, like, the beds, the learning beds must have done, like, a download of their memories or something each night that they're in it, and then when they die, they just upload those memories, because he did say that they get programmed with all the memories through the learning beds. So surely the learning beds must be extracting like the day's memories or something like that, or the day's events out of them somehow.
Yeah,
well,
that
they
makes sense.
definitely remember her from season 2, because they don't die after that.
Yeah.
So it's when she kidnaps them then, but they don't remember her from before. So I do think that the memory thing seems to be selected in some way, because when they encounter her in I Know Why the Caged Bird Kills, they have no idea who she is.
But maybe she hasn't made a move on them yet.
That's true too.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, but I think here's the one thing. I actually kind of bought this, but why is Dean reaching out to her? I assume that's how it happened, not that she reached out to him, though it's possible, right?
I kind of hinted at that in my breakdown of why I thought it happened. I thought it was because he's losing his mind as a clone and wanted to find some family to try to like ground him. So he reached out to the woman he thought was his mom.
Yeah, because he doesn't believe anything that Rusty says anymore. Because he's he's had this information that he's a clone hidden from him for all these years. So then he reached out to the other parent to get, their take on it. And yeah, I sort of took it as that as well, really, that it's like the knowledge of finding out that he's a clone has like led him to look for this information.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of what I took it as, and I for that it made sense. And I do like the payoff of them finding out that it's not their mom. Like, that whole sequence was super weird and gross in the best way possible. And it also had that wonderful moment of Hank, like when Hank realizes, like, wait, you're not our mom. I knew it. Which, like, I like that seed of doubt he's always had.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then just all the riot.
Hanky Poo.
Oh my god, the riot that follows is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Mostly because of just randomly Hank just turns around and flips a table.
Yeah.
Every time I watch that scene, I laugh.
I love the bit where they're outside and then you see the guild wasps coming in, and Gary's always like, "Oh shit, we should get out of here."
Yeah,
because it's like that old sort of thing of like the old cliche thing of like there's carnage going on in the background. People will stop and have a chat, and it's it does my head in films. It's like the building's on fire. Just get out of the building, have your little chat afterwards, like, and it's just. I can't remember what it was, but I remember there was like a massive battle sequence going on, and like these two characters. I can't remember if it was a film or TV series from ages ago. I remember watching it. I just remember, but they just had this stopped and had this massive heart-to-heart talk in the middle of a battle where people are dying. I'm like, get on with it.
Because Spider-Man and Tony Stark definitely
Yes,
have that moment.
yes, it was. That was it. Actually, there was that. It's happened in that. It's happened in loads of times. But yeah, that's the most recent.
I would say
one.
it happens in every Marvel movie.
Yeah,
Yep.
probably.
Every single one of them.
And you just think, hang on a minute, have you had to talk after? You know,
Yeah.
big battle, guys. You know, get with the program.
The stakes are always the same.
Yeah.
The world.
But it just, that sort of thing always like irritates me. And the fact that they started doing it and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, we should get out of here.
Yeah.
We'll talk later.
I think we've said pretty much everything we can say about this one. Have we not?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I have
I mean-
one little thing to ask.
Oh, please.
How does Rusty not recognize Myra's voice when he answers the phone and interrupts Dean?
'Cause
Does
it's
she
rusty?
speak?
Yeah. Well, they are talking because
Yeah.
Dean's having a back and forth. But yes, it is. That is probably it. We've already gone over how oblivious Rusty is in this episode. So there we go.
Okay, so let's move into favorite characters, and I can go first. I think the MVP of this episode is hands down Dermot, and just because of his dialogue throughout the whole thing, from his nunchaku line to his complaining about the ball and chain to, of course, the clown paint line. I think his dialogue is the best it's ever been since his character's been created, and it's fantastic.
I'll agree with that. This is the best received Dermot.
Nick, are you staying 3 for 3, or are you going to go a different way?
I knew both of you were either going to say Dermot or Hank, which I feel like are probably the best choices, but I'm going to go with a curveball, and I'm going to say Teddy. 'Cause I
Okay.
feel like Teddy in this episode is so odd. The way that they use the bear Teddy and the real Teddy. And I just love real Teddy. I think that's such a weird thing where it's like, is he a supervillain? Like, maybe he's just kind of out there and maybe really strong. I don't know. And then he disappears.
Yeah. It disappears
And-
to By Golly Gulch, which apparently is a real place.
And saves
Yeah.
Rusty on his way.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. And I just
I
love
just
how
love-
he's not putting on that voice. He talks like that in real life.
Oh, yeah. And just
Exactly.
the ending with the, what were you going to tell me about him? Burn victim? Oh, I know, right?
Yeah. That noise he makes. Oh,
Still rusty.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's do a quick round of plugs and say goodbye. Be sure to listen to After the Hype. Be sure to listen to Samwise. Be sure to listen to Demon Days. Be sure to listen to Damage Boost and all the shows on the ATH Pod Network. Be sure to read the articles. I'll let Matt talk more specifically about that. Be sure to play video games that Nick works on, which he will not tell you what they are because he's Nick. Matt, what are those articles?
Wow. I'm trying to think what the last one that came out was. I think it was my Speed one. Yeah, it was. Speed is 25 years old, and I wrote an article about that fact, and yeah, did a bit of research into it, found out some really interesting facts. Yeah, it's a solid article. Yeah, read it, it's good. And I'm still working on this motherfucking huge article as well, to the point where John actually said to me, "Look, you're running out of articles that you've got stored up. Is there maybe any you can put something together quickly so we've got more content? Because I know you're working on the research on that one." I'm like, yeah, this is taking ages, and I just quickly put another one together.
And that's the Disney Sony one, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. We will see you next week, or talk at you next week. If we see you, then cool, I guess. Bye.
Bye.